Hey there, so we're going to review Scatterplots and some of the key features of Scatterplots and how to make those as you guys are going to start making some of them on your own. So you're going to have a set of data, whether it's just some XY points or they're related to a data set like I have here, or maybe you've gone out and researched some data that you would have and you would need an independent variable and a dependent variable. I'm sticking with our theme of the cost of cigarettes that we were looking at the other day. Now, you guys looked at individual states. I'm looking at the United States average cost of cigarettes over the years from 1955 to 2020. So I do have an independent variable. A reminder, your independent variable is often a unit of time because you want to make sure your independent variable ends up on the x-axis or the horizontal axis. So my years will end up down there, and then my the cost is dependent on the year. So my dependent variable is my y. So my cost will end up here. Now, one thing to be very, very careful of if your time is written in years is you need to figure out when your starting year was and make that year 0. So for example, in this one, if I would have chosen to use 1955 as my, putting actually 1955 down there, that's almost like I'm referring to the year 0 BC as my starting point of data. And that doesn't really make sense in this case because obviously we weren't collecting data back then and there weren't cigarettes that they were charging for and stuff like that in 0 BC. So whatever year you're starting at, so in my case, I'm starting at 1955. So I labeled that one 0. I have already done this just to kind of save time on the video. So if that's year 0, then I just go to 1965 and figure out how many years that is from my starting point. So since that's 10 years, that's year 10, where 1975 would be 20, and so on. Now, before it's so easy to go 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, make sure you're paying attention. So my data, I noticed, went from 2000, it was going by 10-year increments, but then it went to 2010, and I have to make sure that that's how far it is from 1955. So that's 55 years from 1955. And then with 2020, that's 65 years. So make sure you're really paying attention as you label those. So I'm going to go through, I have to put basically 0 through 65 on this x-axis. So I'm probably going to go ahead and go by 10s, but I'm going to go every other line. So essentially what I'm doing is going by 5s. So I'm going to make some lines here, and then I'm going to come back with a text box. So I'm really going by 5s, but I'm going to label every 10 years just to make this easy. Again, whatever interval you decide to go by, you have to stay consistent. So don't just put the years or the data that you have. Make sure your intervals stay consistent, otherwise your graph will not end up correct. Okay, so let's see how well I can do this. So that would be year 0, 0 is going to be right here at that origin. So my first dash is year 10. Oops, technical difficulties here. Text box, did I do something wrong? Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of space over. So this would be year 20, 30. Now, remember, I'm going to need some spots in between, but I'm just labeling my graph right now. So I'm going by 10s. And then when I get to those ones that are like 55 years and 60 years, I know where I'll put those. I'll put those halfway in between. Trying to get this to fit well so it's easy to read. Okay. And I don't even really need to keep going. I can if I'd like to in case I add data to it. But I have enough space for what I have going on here. So that's my x-axis. And again, oops, better not do that. Now I'm getting things out of alignment. Let me click undo. Oh. All right, struggle here. Sorry, I'm making this video longer. Let me redo that. I messed up. And then I'm going to leave that alone. Okay, so those are my x-axis. Again, below that, what I wanted to type in was years. So I was labeling my x-axis. Okay, labeling my y-axis is going to be a little bit harder because I go from 23 cents up to $66.65. I just want to make sure I keep those intervals the same. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe go up by $1. So I'm really going to go up by 50 cents. I think that will fit, just kind of looking at that. And sometimes you got to try to make it fit, and then maybe have to go back and redo it if it doesn't work to fit your data on there. Okay. That is one of the harder parts about designing a scatter plot, is to make sure you can include all your data. Okay, and actually, you guys, I know what I should have been doing is hitting Shift and then drawing my lines. That's how you make a straight line on Jamboard. So that has nothing to do with scatter plot lesson, but good to know. I should have been doing that all along. Okay, I'm going to try to put in, so if this is 0, now I'm not just going to put these numbers that I have, because I'm going to put that information when I plot points. But I am going to decide to go by, let's go by $1 every other line. So the in-between lines would be 50 cents, and then we'll have to do some estimating. When we go to plot our points. So 2, 3. And please forgive me for human error if everything doesn't line up quite perfectly. I'm trying to get it as close as possible. Okay, let me put 7 on there. And again, I could keep labeling, but that will cover all the information I currently have. All right, so, and I should label that with cost of 1 pack of cigarette, or this is probably sufficient, not efficient, is that I have my X and my Y labeled up here. So I'll just label my X and my Y axis so you know what I'm referring to. Okay, again, this one needs to be something that's independent, like time, and this one needs to be what's dependent on it. So that is something you'll have to make a choice about. Now I'm going to plot these points. Now plotting on here isn't super easy. I'm going to use a circle to mark my point. So I need to plot 0 and then 0.23, 23 cents. So that's going to end up, let's see, ooh, that's a little bit too big. That's hard to put on there. Okay, so I need it to end up about below 50 cents. So it's going to end up about right here. Let's see. Maybe I'll do a different color and that'll help it stand out. Let's try red. Okay. So it'll probably be just kind of a little mark there, not a perfect circle, a little easier when we're using pencil and paper. Okay, but this will work for now. All right. And then I need to plot 10 and 30 cents. You guys, this is going to be real hard to show the difference between, just because I went by 50-cent increments. So they're going to look pretty close to the same. This one is just a little bit higher than that one. Okay, where the 23 cents should be about halfway in between. That one should be a little higher, but still lower than the 50 cents. Same thing here with the 20, is it's going to be really close to that 50-cent line and slightly higher than those, but probably hard to tell, especially when we're doing this on the computer. So we do the best we can. This one will be a little bit easier. After year 30, it went up to $1.05. So I line it up with 30, and $1.05 would be just above that $1 mark. So I can definitely tell the difference there. And then for 40 years, it's $1.80. So I'm going to go up past, this would be $1.50. So up past that about halfway, a little more than halfway for $1.80. And then year 50 was $3.89. So I need to go up, here's $3, here's $3.50. So I need to go up closer to the $4. Okay. And now year 55, so I go halfway in between those, is $5.55. So I'm going all the way up to 5, past $5.50 by just a little bit. So it's up in this region. Okay, that doesn't look like a point, but it's supposed to be. And then year 65 would start in here, and I need to go to $6.65. So here's $6.50 if I line that up, so it's going to be about in here. Okay, that point got a little big too, but you guys kind of understand. So that's a scatter plot, okay? Moving forward, we're going to take a look at, does it look like there's a line forming or something else, okay? So obviously with real data, it's not going to form a perfect straight line, but I can kind of estimate that, oh, this might be, you know, if I have that starting point, a line like this is fairly close to that data. Okay, so I might see a linear function forming there. Okay, and that's called a line of best fit. So we're going to be looking at that, and then we'll talk about how strong or weak the correlation is. Okay, so the closer it is to this line, the stronger it is. The more spread out it is, the weaker it is. And we'll talk about estimating those and then also how to calculate the strength of your scatter plot. So that's just the basics on how to use a scatter plot, and that'll get us ready going into next week on some of the things we're going to be doing. Thanks for watching.